Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Wednesday, the 14th of December. Good to have you aboard. We got a lot going on here, a lot to get to. However you're listening to us, I love you a long time. Make sure you rate, you comment, you like, you do all that good stuff. It helps out the show. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your mother I say hello. You can always hit me up on social media at ZASLOW Show. On the Twitter machine, at ZASLOWJ. On Instagram, I love hearing from you guys. Love interacting with you guys, of course. And we are also on the YouTube, youtube.com/@ZASLOW Show. However you're listening to us, it's always presented by Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you're dealing with any kind of personal injury, whatever accident it was that caused it, you get a lawyer on the phone right away when you call Anidjar and Levine, all right? Mark Anidjar, Glenn Levine, Ellie Anidjar. Those are my guys. They believe in me, and so I'm sending you over to them. You got any issues with an injury you're dealing with from an accident, 800-747-3733, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. So, last night, now we got Dolphin stuff, obviously. O.J. McDuffie. One of my all-time favorite players, OJ, is going to join us on the show today. You know, when I was growing up, okay, late 80s, into the 90s, everyone loved Marino, obviously. I love Marino. Loved him then, love him now. But I always felt like, and this is the same thing with the Heat, too. Dwayne Wade is everyone's favorite. Dwayne Wade was never my favorite player on the team. Now, it's a little bit different when you get older. When you're an adult, you have favorite players. But, like, for instance, on the 2006 champion Miami Heat, James Posey was my favorite player. I was a big fan of James Posey. Even earlier teams, when you had Tim Hardaway. Now, this is the year that Lonzo Mourning came back when he had the kidney disease. But, like, Anthony Mason was my favorite player on that Heat team, I usually don't gravitate toward the star player. Everyone loves the star. I love the star too. He's not my favorite. So on those Dolphin teams, I had two favorite players. Brian Cox, O.J. McDuffie. I had a favorite player on the offensive side. I had a favorite player on the defensive side. O.J. McDuffie and Brian Cox were my favorite players. I had a jersey for each of them that I would wear to the games. Then later on, into the late 90s, then into the early 2000s, Zach Thomas was my favorite player on those teams. Love Marino, of course, but one of my favorite player, O.J. McDuffie and Brian Cox. O.J. McDuffie, Brian Cox, Zach Thomas, my three all-time favorite Dolphin players. So O.J. is going to join us today, and I met O.J. I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again because I love this story and it's a lot of fun. And hopefully we got new ZASLOW Show 2.0 listeners, and you're hearing the story for the first time. Excuse me. So, early on in the history of 790 The Ticket, so this is back in 2004, OJ joined the station. He was doing part-time stuff, doing weekend stuff, and then eventually he hosted the midday show full-time. So OJ was, an OG 790 employee back in the day, man. And so it was a thrill that I met OJ, that he started working there. This guy he was one of my all-time favorite players, cool as hell. And as it turned out, he's such a regular dude. So that made it even more gratifying. You don't want to meet your heroes. That can go kind of rough sometimes. OJ, totally regular dude. So that was really cool. And so I became friendly with him. And I'll tell this story now. I love this story, all right? I got to figure OJ remembers it. But leading up to the Super Bowl that year, so this is like, late, I guess early February, the Super Bowl that year. So this is the 2004 season. It's 2005. The Super Bowl that year was Eagles and Patriots. That was, Terrell Owens, Donovan McNabb, Eagles and Patriots. I think the final score was 24-17. Does that sound right? Something like that. And so the Super Bowl's coming up, and OJ's got a good setup in his house. He's got a theater, and he's inviting a bunch of people over. I don't know if he still lives there. I have no idea. But he's got a theater in his house, so he's inviting a bunch of people over. They're doing a Super Bowl party. And he said, I'm young at that point. I probably just turned 24 years old. I'm a kid, man. And OJ invites me and my wife. And I was like, all right, yeah, maybe. And I was really like, all right, he's being nice. I'm not going to actually take him up on the offer. He doesn't really want, like, he's only known me for a couple of months. He doesn't really want me there. And then I told my wife, and, leading up to the game, like, we didn't have anywhere to go. And I called OJ, like, the day before. I was like, hey, man, I think I'm going to come. And he was super happy. So, yeah, it's so cool. He was one of my favorite players. He invited me and my wife over to watch the Super Bowl at his home. So we get to his house. The Super Bowl's starting in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. We get there before the game starts. And we arrive. Okay, great. OJ introduced us to he's got a lot of friends over. OJ introduced us to a few people. Okay, cool. Hey, how you doing? We don't know anyone, but he introduced us to a bunch of people. And Kijana Carter, his friend Kijana, former running back, Penn State, he's going around with the big poster board to do boxes, squares, however you call it. If you don't know what that is, everybody gives it, whatever you're charging, $5 a box, $10 a box, and there's like 100 boxes, and you pick your box, you buy as many boxes as you want, and then you randomly draw the numbers, and if the score is a certain score at the end of each quarter, and you had those boxes, you could win a lot of money. Boxes are my favorite Super Bowl betting game. It's so much fun. And he had enough people at his house where you could fill 100 boxes. So, yeah. So, it's however much it is, $5 a box, $10 a box. Okay, fine. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. I think we want to do boxes. Anyway, so I say to my wife, like, I don't have any money on me. But hey, there was a gas station across the street, So we're going to hop in the car and we're going to go to the ATM and we're going to get some money. Okay, cool. So I got to do boxes. So we hop in the car, we drive off, it literally across the street, there's a gas station. We go to the ATM, I take out a bunch of money. Okay, cool. Now, right when I get back in the car, I'm 2 minutes away from OJ's house. Right when I get back in the car, my phone rings. OJ McDuffie. And before I pick it up, oh shit. I turn to my wife, I go, watch this. I knew exactly what happened. Pick up the phone. Hey! Yo, ZASLOW, where you at, man? Now, again, I know exactly what just happened. You got to remember, or you don't have to remember. I mean, you're listening to the show right now. You don't know. So, I get to OJ's house. He's introducing us to everybody. 99% of the people there, his friends, family, whatever, they're black. You got to remember that part. All black. 99% of family and friends, they're black. Phone rings. I turn my wife and go, oh, shit. Watch this. I'm about to be very embarrassed. I'm very embarrassed right now because I know what happened. I know what just happened. Hello? OJ. Yo, ZASLOW, where you at, man? And I could tell already it's on speakerphone because I knew what was coming. I knew what just happened. And if you're listening right now, you now know also. All right? Almost all black people at OJ's house for his Super Bowl party. And within 5 minutes, the two white people got in a car and left. They didn't know that we left to go to the gas station, to go to the ATM, to get money, because I gotta do boxes. Yo, ZASLOW, where you at? And I could hear we're on speakerphone. So I go right into it, because I know exactly what happened. I go, yo, man, we're on our way back right now. I just had to go to the ATM. I had to get money because Kijana's walking around with boxes, and I didn't have any cash, and I love boxes. So we're going to be back in 2 minutes. And all of a sudden, you hear in the background, howling, loud, laughing, cackling. Oh, okay, cool. I will see you in a few minutes. Everyone there. Like, what happened? We get in the car. Someone said, yo, OJ, your white friend's just up and dipped. And OJ calls like, yo, ZASLOW, where you at, man? They all thought, and I knew it right when the phone rang. I knew it. And everyone there thought we up and left because everyone there is black. And so, of course, I got to deal with when we come back. 2 minutes later, we're back, okay? I got to deal with rolling back up and knowing that everyone thought that we left because we're the only white people there. And so I got to explain, yo, just get money, katana, boxes, gambling, come on. And so, I bought a bunch of boxes there. I love that story, man. If that's the first time that you've heard that story, I hope you enjoy. I love telling that story. And but the story actually, it's such a good story because it was our first time there. And OJ's been really good to me over the years. Really good to me. I mean, shit, I think my birthday, the next birthday after that when I turned 26, I had broken up with my then girlfriend, and she's now my wife. But we had broken up, and that was a time period where we were broken up for a couple of months, and obviously I was in bad shape. And OJ took me and my friends, along with some of his friends, but OJ took me and my friends out for my birthday. We were in a stretch Hummer. He paid for everything. We were at the Hard Rock, some club. Oh, my God. And I saw that bill at the end of the night. It wasn't pretty. So OJ's always been really good to me. And that night, too, when we were watching the Super Bowl, and like I told you, he's got a theater. And he's like near the front of the room, big screen, of course, big projection. And it's like mid-first quarter, late first quarter. And all of a sudden he turns to me, yo, where's ZASLOW? I was like, hey, I'm right here, man. We were sitting up top. We were sitting like on bar stools, like up top of the theater, watching the game. We're having a great time. Yo, I'm right here, man. Hey, OJ. And he came up and sat up there with us, watched the rest of the game with us. So it was he's a good dude. I guess that's the moral of the story. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show here today. That'll be a lot of fun. And he is, he's a Dolphins alum, but he's like a monster Dolphins fan, So, yeah, we'll do some Dolphins with him. That'll be a lot of fun. I went to the Panther game last night. Panthers won 4-0, me and my son, and he loves the Panthers. That's our thing, man. It's such a cool thing, You're a father, and maybe you got boys or girls, whatever, and the kids can be so different. And my older one's 14 next month, and the older one has always been into sports. Watching sports, playing sports, always been super athletic. He's the one who's a goalie for Weston Select. And the younger one, not so much. Not athletic. And not necessarily so into sports. Loves his video games. But over the last few months, he's really gotten into sports. And he plays basketball every day by himself. I mean, I'll go out there with him too. But he plays basketball every day in front of the house. And he loves going to the Panthers games. And he's into the World Cup. And it's funny how different your kids can be from each other. And especially my younger one, just these last few months where now he's really gotten into sports. It's really cool to see. You would think someone who works in sports like myself that it would be disappointing to me if he wasn't into sports. I don't care. It's I did not push either one of them at all. If anything, I wouldn't say discouraged, but I'm definitely not pushing them to do sports. And so for so long, because the younger one's 11, wasn't really into it, and now on his own, he's gotten into sports. So that part's really cool for me. Anyway, we went to the Panthers last night, and Panthers won 4-0. My overriding thought is, look, I'll take the wins however I can get them, especially for this Panther team this year, and they're just not very good. But so I'll take the wins however I can get them. Winning's better than losing. I own that statement. I'll take the wins however I can get them. But like last night, late in the second period, the Panthers are up 3-0, and my son turned to me. He's like, "This game's kind of boring tonight," and I knew it. I knew it was. They don't play the same style. The games, and that's part of what bothers me. I don't know if you guys can see here on the YouTube channel. You can see the light is trickling here in my bedroom. I hope it doesn't come off on the screen. It looks like the light bulb's going out. Anyway, I'll take care of that in a little bit. So, the win is the 2 points are what's most important. But last year, they played such a fun, pleasing style, a fan-friendly style. And if the winning comes with this style, that's all that matters. But they don't play that way anymore, and it's not as fun to watch. Like, yeah, that game last night, it's a bit of a grind. Like I said, I'll take grinding it out if it means we're going to get 2 points. But it is a different style. It's a different style from what captured a lot of new fans, and they've essentially abandoned it the very next season. Better work out. If it works out, if it means a long playoff run, okay. But if they're going to play this style and miss the playoffs, it's such a major blunder. They won, though, 4-0 last night. Like I said, the most important thing is the Panthers winning these games. So they win last night, and they're back at it tomorrow night as they take on Buffalo. Let's get right into the Dolphins here. Like I said, OJ McDuffie's going to join us coming up. We're going to do a lot of Dolphins with him. Oh, you know what? Actually, before I get to the Dolphins, let's do NBA here, because the NBA, there were a couple things that happened in the league last night. So Boston had a crazy win last night over the Lakers. That was TNT, 122-118 in overtime. This was a game that Boston was up big, and then the Lakers went on a 45-14 run in the second half. And so the Celtics were up 20-something, I think. The Lakers, they were up 20, 45-12. They were up 20, and then the Lakers were up 13. A 33-point swing. And then Boston, so Anthony Davis at the free throw line late misses 2 free throws in a 2-point game. Make one, make things, at least you need a 3-pointer. Make them both games over. Misses both. Jason Tatum jumper on the other side, tie game, go to overtime. And in overtime, Boston winds up winning the game. Okay, fine. Milwaukee, they beat Golden State last night, 128-111. And this was a nutty game. So there were a bunch of technical fouls. I think there were like 5 technicals early in the game, first quarter of the game on Golden State. Bunch of technical fouls. Steve Kerr, Steph Curry. And the big story coming out of the game, Milwaukee won the game. Golden State can't win on the road. They have 2 wins on the road this year. That's it, 2. You think the Heat are a bad road team? I think they had 3 or 4 maybe. Golden State's won 2 games on the road this year. Milwaukee wins last night, no Drew Holiday. But the big story of the game is Draymond Green, all right? So you could see on the foul line, Giannis Antetokounmpo was taking forever. He had 2 10-second violations on the free throw line. He's taking forever on the free throw line. And so this affords Draymond Green an opportunity where he's having a back and forth with a fan underneath the basket a few rows back. And it's a pretty animated conversation, you could tell. But they're going back and forth. Like, Draymond is saying plenty. And, you know, you saw it just a couple weeks ago where I think he was fine because he's swearing at fans. So, after this exchange for a little bit, you eventually see play stopped, and Draymond's talking to referees, and he's pointing at the fan, and he wants the fan kicked out. And what do? They kick the fan out. The fan gets thrown out. He's a few rows back behind the basket. The fan gets thrown out. And so Draymond Green apparently didn't like what we were saying. Now remember, when LeBron did this, and Buddy was sitting in the front row, LeBron didn't say, I think fans sitting around him said that the guy, or I think it was a young guy, I think it was 20s with his girlfriend, a couple of dopes, and said something nasty about LeBron's son. Like something about, I hope he gets hit by a car. Something like that. It's like, that is so not cool. So, and I don't want this to come off sounding like I'm defending the fan. All right? I don't understand the fans who behave this way. I really don't. I can never imagine going to a game and yelling obscenities at the players. I especially can't imagine going to a game and yelling obscenities at players when they are within... when they're within, ears, when they're within an area where they can hear you. I can't, I'd be so embarrassed to have a back and forth with a fan. I'd be embarrassed the people around me hearing me yelling, back and forth with the player. I'd be embarrassed the people around me hearing the things that we'd be saying to each other. And then, of course, maybe he called him the N-word. Maybe he did, although the fan who was thrown out was black, so that's not the case. That's most likely not the case this time around. But that'll happen. He called, that's happened in Utah a few times, right? Where the fan was accused of yelling the N-word to Russell Westbrook, right? Can you imagine? There are fans out there, and they are so comfortable with calling a player the N-word, and you got all these people around you hearing you call the N-word. I can't even imagine. It's crazy. I can't imagine this kind of behavior from some fans. It is. It's crazy. So Draymond has this fan thrown out of the game. Obviously now it's like, all right, well, what'd he say? What'd the fans say? So here's Draymond after the game.
And eventually got ejected. What did they say to you?
Some threatening stuff to my life. So, I was this close to really going back and like diving all the way in, but kind of just went back and told the official. And when I told the official what he said, he's like, "Oh, he got to get out of here." And he got to get out of here.
Do you like that, I guess? I know you got fined a couple weeks ago when you said something to the fan. Do you like that that's kind of an option to you, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I can't necessarily say that that hasn't been an option. That's kind of been an option, but I think, there are times where you're just in the moment, and you respond. And so, that's been an option. That wasn't like, oh, I just found out that was an option once I got fined. Like, that's been there. And the league has made that clear to us for years that that's been there. But like I said, we are human beings, and there are times where you just respond, and try to learn from the mistakes. But, like I said, there's still that human side, that human element to it. That, sometimes you're just going to respond, and that's just it.
All right, so there you go. So that's Draymond after the game. The fan, he threatened his life. Threatened his life. I guess we're just taking Draymond's word for it, right? But what does that even mean, like, the fan threatened his life? Does that mean, like, because they're clearly having a back and forth. And again, I don't want it to sound like I'm defending the fan here or defended this kind of fan behavior. I just went through the whole thing. I just told you. I can't imagine behaving this way. But Draymond Green gets to decide, and we're just taking his word for it, and we're throwing fans out of the building who are paying a lot of money, obviously, to sit close. I mean, maybe there's just a fan there who's annoying the player. Fans are allowed to heckle. They are. And maybe it's starting to bother a player. And he's just like, yeah, this guy said so-and-so, throw him out. That's what we're doing now. We just throw guys out. We don't have to hear anything. Just, we'll throw them out, and we'll try and see if we were right about doing that by watching video and investigating the next day. Like, Draymond gets to decide what can and can't be said. We're there having a back and forth, and we know Draymond goes at it with fans. And we know he's nasty with the fans. He was fined recently about it. We know he's nasty. They're having a back and forth. And the fan then says, Draymond's like, hey, you ain't shit, man. Shut the hell up. And then the fan says, yo, I'll kick your ass, you talk to me like that. Is that a threat? Like, do you think the fan actually said to Draymond, hey, Draymond, I'm going to kill you? I find it hard to believe. I find it really hard to believe. Fan just said, Draymond, I'm going to kill you. Or did he say, yo, I'll kick your ass? And that's a threat. Like, that's threatening his life. Like, Draymond gets to decide. The players get to decide. That's where we are now. Like, Draymond is constantly engaging with fans. He's constantly swearing at them. And then he decides when, oh, no, it's enough. And then he throws you out. That's what we're doing? That's where we're at? And by the way, in any other profession, Draymond Green is arrested for aggravated assault on a coworker. We all know that. Any other possession, Draymond Green, at the beginning of the season, punches out Jordan Poole. Any other possession, you are arrested, aggravated assault on a coworker. And now, he gets to decide what words are allowed to be said. Words. We're just taking his word for it, too. Come on. I can never imagine yelling at players, though. Like, that's crazy to me. I really can't. I can't imagine behaving this way. But some fans want to heckle. Some fans want to yell things. And NBA players are talking back and forth to fans all the time. And then just all of a sudden, when the player has enough, gets to throw the guy out of the game. Like, do we really believe the guy said, Draymond, I'm going to kill you? Really? I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And I'm not taking the fan side, but I'm certainly not taking Draymond Green's side. He is the wrong messenger in this spot. He is the wrong guy to be at the center of this. And for everybody just to be, it's not cool. Like, you can't talk to Draymond like that. I mean, this is as nasty a guy as there is in the league. And like I said, any other profession, he is arrested for aggravated assault against a coworker. And now he just gets to say, I don't like what that guy said. You got to throw him out of the game. Nah, I'm not on that side. I'm not on that side. I'm not on the side of the fan in this spot who yells really anything at players, because I can't imagine behaving that way myself. But we can't be in a place where we're just taking the player's word. Hey, throw that guy out. He's not allowed to be here anymore. Nah, man. People pay a lot of money. And I got a hard time believing that he threatened to kill Draymond Green. I got a hard time believing that. Hard times, Daddy. All right, so that's a big story as far as what's going on there with fan behavior at NBA games. And it's only NBA games, although, and we'll ask OJ McDuffie about this. With football, the fans are close enough. You could definitely hear some stuff. NHL, you're not going to be able to hear anything with the glass there. And in baseball, you could definitely hear it. Oh my God, you hear so easy to hear. But you don't get it now every now and then. Boston, you got players, you got fans calling the black outfielders the N-word. That'll happen in Boston. But otherwise, you don't get this you don't get it in baseball. It's only the NBA. And yeah, you got fans that are sitting very close to the floor. But I can't buy Draymond's version that the fan threatened his life. Nah. Could the fan have said, shut the hell up, I'll kick your ass? Definitely. But Draymond's the one who gets to interpret if that means that he's threatening his life? Nah. I can't be in on that. I'm not in on that. So, ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question. Let me give you a quick update here. ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question today. Go to @ZASLOW Show. You go vote. You guys are voting early and often. I put up a poll before the show started this morning, and here is what we've got. Go @ZASLOW Show and vote right now. @ZASLOW Show, ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll. Who has more pressure on them this weekend? And your choices are Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa. That's right. Very controversial poll question. Who has more pressure on them this weekend? Mike McDaniel or Tua Tagovailoa? Now, I can tell you right now, the leader in the poll, by a lot, is Tua Tagovailoa. 69% of the vote. 69% of the vote right now is Tua Tagovailoa. And I got to tell you, I voted Mike McDaniel. Yeah, I voted McDaniel. I think McDaniel, there's some pressure. There is some pressure for the first time, I believe, this season. There is some real pressure on Mike McDaniel. If you're feeling pressure maybe in your head, you got a stuffy, your nose is stuffed, you got a cold sinuses, maybe you're feeling a little bit hot, you got to call Doctors on Call 365. South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. I personally use Dr. Alon and his team. Comes to my home, gave me a COVID test, gave me a flu test. They treat children, adults, and the elderly, minor illnesses or minor injuries. If you need IV fluids, you need vitamin therapy, he'll order you x-rays if you need. He'll draw blood, all right? Based in Broward County, serving Miami-Dade and Southern Palm Beach as well. Doctors on Call 365, South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. That's right, house calls. You don't have to worry about making an appointment with your doctor. Can he fit you in? You're feeling terrible right now. You need to see a doctor today. You don't want to leave your house. You don't want to leave your bed. Doctors on Call 365 is coming to you. DoctorsOnCall365.com. Call them today. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're going to get someone on the phone right away. 786-577-9302. Again, DoctorsOnCall365.com. Call 786-577-9302. So ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll. Who has more pressure on them this weekend? Mike McDaniel or Tua Tagovailoa? Right now, 69% of the vote is going to Tua Tagovailoa. I voted Mike McDaniel. I think it's McDaniel. I think you're watching the shows on television. You got the guys who really know this stuff, and they're breaking down the film, and this is what's happening here, and this is what's happening here. And yes, are some decisions not good by Tua? Is he not 100% accurate right now? Yes. But like we saw last game, I was surprised, and I'll ask OJ about this. I was surprised how in the second half of the game, all right, if they're doing all the things that Collinsworth is saying, where they're dropping the linebackers, they're pushing up the safety, all right, Mike McDaniel definitely knows that. So in the second half, we'll see some adjustments, and we didn't see it. So I don't have any reason to believe that Tua all of a sudden is not the guy that we've seen the entire season. Tua's going to be just fine. But the coach needs to help him out here a little bit. Coach needs to make some adjustments here and make sure that, okay, if the defense is taking this away, we got to do something else. A couple of those things are, how about some screen passes? How about some short passes? How about we throw some passes to Jeff Wilson? I know he got hurt to Raheem Mostert. Let's use the running backs there. How about running the football? The Dolphins have completely abandoned the running game. That's not on Tua, but running the football, that's going to wind up helping your quarterback out. Coming out last game, 3 straight passes over the middle of the field, and all of a sudden, you got 3rd and long, another pass, 0 for 3, Tua, set the tone for the entire game, punt, 3 and out, right quick. No time off the clock. Got to help the quarterback out a little bit. Tua's got to play better, but I'm surprised to see 69% of the vote right now. Again, go to @ZASLOW Show and vote in the ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question today. Who has more pressure on them this weekend? For me, it's Mike McDaniel. Look, Tua's always got pressure on him. It's quarterback. But really, for the first time this year, I think McDaniel's got some pressure. Hey, we're going to see what you're made of now. Now we're going to see what kind of adjustments you can make. Everyone's watched the film the last 2 weeks, but especially this past week, what the Chargers defense did. How are you going to adjust that? What are you going to do now? And by the way, you're a running game guru, Mike McDaniel. Where's the running game at, player? Pressure is always on Tua. Always on the quarterback. I really think I'm really surprised to see so much more of the vote is Tua has the most pressure and not McDaniel. For me, I'm going to this game. I feel like if you put it together for Tua, if you change a couple things, if you adjust to what defenses have been doing to you, and if you run the ball a little bit, Tua's going to be just fine. And that stuff that I just mentioned, that's on the coach. Tua can't do that. Tua's not changing the plays. Tua's not deciding to not run the football or to run the football. I think this is a major week for the coach. And, of course, to find out if these are the same old Dolphins. I already told you, I hate how you got the Dolphin fan coming out and it's all, Tua's still my quarterback. You sound stupid. Stop saying that. And I would also say for those who are, look, I'm frustrated. I'm upset about the last couple of weeks. But there's an element to the fan base. You butch up a little bit. All right? And I know you're disappointed because it felt like a couple of weeks ago this is a Super Bowl contender, and now you have very serious doubts, as you should. So there's a range of emotions that you're dealing with for the first time ever, maybe as a Dolphin fan. You need to butch up a little bit. If you're going to win a Super Bowl, if you're going to be a contender, you're going to go through some hard times. Not every team is 12-1 Philadelphia Eagles. You're going to go through some hard times, all right? Butch up a little bit. And you know what? A couple Dolphins players have noticed this too. So Javon Holland was on, I think it was yesterday. He was doing like an Instagram live, and he's actually lying on his floor. He's just relaxing, and like he's just talking to the Instagram, reading some comments. And he sees you got a lot of Dolphin fans who are now doubting Tua. And I'll apologize in advance for a little bit of the language that Javon Holland uses. He uses the F word at one point. Every once in a while I'll say shit, but I don't try it. Now, we're not regulated or anything here. So I try and make it sound like, I talk the way that I talk, and it's, I'm not, I'll use regular words that I use in everyday vernacular, but I'm not trying to make it gratuitous, and I certainly am not trying to say the F word, because it's just not necessary, and it comes off as gratuitous. Oh, Zazo, we want to hear you say the F word. It's not necessary. It really isn't. So Javon Holland uses the F word here, so I'll apologize in advance for that. But yeah, you got Javon, and Keon Crossan, he came out on Twitter also defending Tua. Keon Crossan doesn't like some of the criticism that Tua is getting. Give Javon Holland here. Give him a listen.
Yeah, let me talk about that shit. How are y'all going to say Tua sold when he's been fucking playing his ass off the last 8 games? One bad game, and we don't even know. We got to look at the film, bro. Like, I don't even know if it was a bad game. I know that my job is to give the ball back to the offense. But I'm behind them boys regardless. Y'all fans be so quick to switch up. Like, come on, man. That's so lame. Y'all be so quick to switch up on our team. Like, how you want to, like, that is so crazy to me. Like, yeah, you loyal fans, like, cool. But then y'all just switch up dumb quick. And y'all hate on us. Like, bruh, I thought y'all was supposed to be ride or die or something. Nah, y'all be switching up on us. That should be lame. Super lame, bro. Anyway. Just know that man Tua, he fighting as hard as everybody else in the field. And it just is what it is.
Now, I'll say a couple things. Number one, I like that Javon Holland cares. And he is awesome. I like that Javon Holland cares. That's first and foremost. All right. Too often in sports now, the players don't care nearly enough, especially the NBA. But Javon Holland clearly cares, and he's offended with the fans who are jumping off ship, who are doubting Tua now. Now fans are allowed to be upset. Let's make that clear. Fans are allowed to be upset. But there is and I normally don't like when the player, like after the game, the player doesn't like the fans booing or that kind of deal. The player will be critical of the fan base. I normally don't like that. Don't tell the fans how to behave. Don't tell the fans what to do or what to say. They're paying a ton of money. All right? You're getting money. They're paying money. Don't tell the fans what to do. But in this case right here, I gotta side with Javon Holland. I do. And because I've been saying this for the last few days, where it's Tua's still my QB. Fan base needs to butch up a little bit these last few days. I don't feel so hot right now either. But you go into this Saturday night and you take that Buffalo ass, hey man, it's gonna be pretty freaking awesome. Especially after the last couple of weeks. I do think there's an element where the fan needs to butch up a little bit. Especially when it comes to quarterback. He's going to have some bad games. Past couple weeks were bad games. Now it's up to him and McDaniel to fix this. So I do need to side. I side with Javon Holland here. I do. And I like that he cares. That's first and foremost. All right. All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are brought to us by Johnny Cuba. You're looking to have a nice little afternoon, maybe an early evening drink. You go pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba. Hand me a Johnny. 6 packs of Cuba, Johnny Cuba available. Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie. It's the holiday season. You got great specials on 6-packs. It's a lifestyle. We're talking European roots with a Caribbean soul. Start your evening with a refreshing German lager in a can. Johnny Cuba. You go check out on social media. And again, remember Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are brought to us by Johnny Cuba.